Hi everyone, and welcome to a new segment that I will be doing on my YouTube channel. Now, if you're part of my Twitch community, this is going to come out there first, so I hope you guys will definitely check me out there if you want to have more content like this. But I am starting a segment of doing a clip/cinematography breakdown every other week with you guys. Now, this week we are going to start with one of my absolute favorite movies, and it's a little bit of an oldie, but I call it a goodie. So what I mean by that is I feel that there's so much to learn from lots of movies regardless of their age. And so this one's filmed in 1980 and it's called Somewhere in Time. Now we're going to be looking at one of the first clips of the movie. And then, sorry, I work on episodes weekly, so I digress. And then we're also going to be looking at the very last, spoiler alert, very last sequence of the movie as well. Now, a little bit about me. I work full-time in the animation industry as a lead Disney layout artist, and I want to give back to the community, and this is my way of doing that with you guys, is just having some fun talking about the things that I've learned over my decade plus experience. And I hope you guys learn a little bit of something and enjoy this type of content as well. So let's get right to it. The way that I like to review footage, especially if I'm just breaking it down, is without sound. Now, the reason why I like doing things without sound is because it really takes away from what it is you're trying to look at. So it's a lot better to review things without any sound. And all the footage that I like to pull from are generally from movie clips, and all the information I'll have down below because I think it's important to watch this in its entirety instead of just segments, but for our educational purposes is how I'm going to do it. So first and foremost, we have our main character here. They've just done a performance, and he's backstage talking to all of his, co-stars, and so we're gonna play from here. So we get close up on him, and then we see this old woman, and he's really taken aback by her. So let me see now. What are the keys? Okay, there we go. So we go from a close-up then to a... And can you see how his emotion changes as he's like, who is this person? So then we cut and we see this old woman, and it's very interesting to note that everybody else in this shot are all relatively young. Most of them are women that are around our main character, and we don't know who this woman is. We've been introduced to our main character, Richard, but we don't know who this woman is yet. So if we go from here, she hands him something, and we don't even get to see what it is yet. We just see that she places something in his hand. The camera tracks up with his hand while she places something in his hand. Then we cut to see her for the very first time. So it's very important that we have a very close up shot of her, because we can really feel her emotion as she says, "Come back to me," and you're like, well, this lady's crazy, what's going on here? And then we go back to the same kind of cutting system that we had at the very beginning of this clip. And it's the same type of framing, just the opposite direction on him. And he's, again, not too sure about what's going on here. And then we go for an over the shoulder of, sorry, I'm used to Windows Media Player Classic when I go through things. But then we go to this medium shot of him over the shoulder of her, and she just leaves. And she exits screen left, okay? So he looks screen left, and then we see this big emptiness beside him, which is very important. Then we also cut. We pan to the left. She exited left. He looks left. Now the camera pulls around and we see this very empty area that she's exiting to, and we see all of these other people that are also immersed in what is going on in this situation as she's leaving. Now, the reason why this cut works, because technically it could technically be jarring, but the reason why a cut like this works is because we're cutting on action and we are seeing her leave the stage. And then then we cut back to what we just saw, and, you know, everyone's like, what happened? And then they're gonna go back to their partying ways. Because, I mean, it was opening night, they had a great opening, and they're going to enjoy what they had. So we're going to just stay with our heroine of the film. Now, she is clearly in extremely old clothing. We don't really know anything about her. She's got a chauffeur, so she must have money. And it's very interesting that the way that they're shooting this shot, because she's not exactly center, and usually you film things like this to give people a frame of airiness or openness to whatever screen space they're filling. So this would be screen right. There should be a little bit extra space there. But that's not what they did here. Instead, what they did was they have her a little bit more screen right, and we see a little bit of the chauffeur on the screen left. But it also makes it feel interesting and ominous and dark because they're not giving her screen space, as well as having this shadow of darkness. So from here we see the Grand Hotel, and a very Easter egg tidbit fun thing here. It says that it's established in 1887. Now that number is actually really important. I mean, if the name of the movie didn't give it away. But anyway, so she is staying at a hotel that we may or may not know about. I'm not sure. I'm not giving anything away. So anyways, we pan and track with the car as it is coming into the driveway of the Grand Hotel. And if you can't tell, it is pretty grand, if I may say so myself. And so she's going into one of their hotel rooms. And now we've got that sense of airiness again. They're giving her space. She feels good about what she just did. And now somebody comes to greet her and ask her how the film was. So we pan with her, and then she exits screen by closing the doors. And I love that they hold there for so long so that we can hear a beat of the music. And you can tell that there's something very important about this music, and we don't quite know what it means yet. So this is something very special to her. So we pan and track from the record player to her, and then we pick her up on action, turning towards us. And she seems pretty happy about this. Now we cut to see a window and see the ocean with just her hand in there. And then we cut to a profile medium shot as she sits in her chair. And she looks... And we are tracking or pushing in, and then we get a close-up of Too Much Spring, the show that she went to go see, and then we cut back to the same shot so we can see her. And then she puts the important play to her chest. Now that was the first one that we were going to watch, and now we're going to watch the very last shot of this sequence. So this was one of the very first shots of the whole movie, and now we're going to watch one of the very end. So it doesn't start on a high note. I'm just going to say that right away. Okay, so I absolutely love this end sequence. The reason being, it's just the cinematography and the way they shot this I found to be really fun. Okay, now the reason why I'm saying that is so we go from this, and again, I like to do this with the volume off. And so we come in, so we're tracking in with the character, or, you know, we're trucking in. Wow, words are hard for me today. Okay, I'm so sorry. So we are trucking in with a little bit of a tilt down to see our main character not doing so well like we did just a second ago. And so then we cut to his POV, which is great. So we see, you know, the on-site doctor, we see the concierge. I think that's what the old man in the middle there, I think he's the concierge. And then we see I think the other guy is the hotel owner. Bear with me, it's been a very long time since I've seen this movie. So, and the flashlight, right? This is absolutely fantastic. I love this kind of filmmaking. So then what happens? And I love the foreshortening on everyone. So you really get a sense of we're his POV, right? And he can hear all of them, but he doesn't care, okay? None of this matters to him. Look at him. So then we get an over the shoulder of the doctor. So roughly we're the concierge's point of view-ish. And we see him, and he looks like hell, right? And then we go back to seeing the doctors again and the other men behind him, and then we get a shot of just him. And what's so good about this shot, look at what his face is doing. He's smiling. He's happy. He's happy that he's not doing so well. Who smiles when they're not doing well, okay? And it's a close-up of just his face. Nothing else is really important at this point. You know, look at how happy he is. And then at this point, can you see how they're getting kind of like a foggy lens on the camera? Something's a little bit off here, and you can tell something is a little bit off because the lighting isn't right. So you can tell that things are fading, and then he starts lifting. You know, so we don't care what's going on with the doctor and the concierge anymore. Now we're floating in the room. So clearly he is passing on. And he's totally fine with the scenario. And we just see white for a little while because it's almost like, okay, well, is this it? Or like, are we going to see anything else? And then no, for some weird reason, we turn down to see everything else in the room. We get this really wide shot of seeing his dead body on the bed with the doctor over it and the concierge on the phone. Again, everything's really muddy. You know, he doesn't know, now he's a soul and he doesn't really know where to go or what to do because nothing is really drawing him. But this window, there's something about this window. And do you remember how we saw a window in the previous shot? Windows are very important. So the window is calling to him. There's something interesting about this window. So we cut to us going through the window. And then, I don't know, where are we? We see a silhouette of somebody. But this has to be somebody that's important to us, right? And there's nothing but white. And we're slowly trucking in, very slowly, very, very graceful truck in, you know? And then as we're trucking in, do you see how she's keeping up with the camera, and then all of a sudden she turns. She turns because our POV of him, he has come out of his own POV, okay? I love that. I absolutely love when film is like this. And we see him back in his old clothes. We see her back when she was younger, in her heyday, I guess we would call it. And, you know, the love that they once have is back, and they knew that they would be together. If not in this life, then in the next. And they are so happy to be with one another again, and they're together. So I hope you guys really enjoyed that, and I'm planning on doing these segments on YouTube every other week. So it's going to go segment, our cinematography breakdown, and then so every other week, and then it will also be studio vlog, which will consist of 2 weeks. That's what I was trying to say. Words. So I hope you guys really enjoyed that, and thank you so much. I will see you guys on the next one, if not in the Twitchverse, so I hope you guys will check me out there. And if you got this far in the movie, put a little video camera in the comment section. I hope you guys really enjoyed this kind of content, and I will see you guys on the next one.